see someone. I need to see someone. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. I need to see someone because this is the questionnaire. And Hardaway wasn't here to interrupt me, man. And I was pretty sure we had a show, and so we should probably do that. But I am the unknown factor, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and typically my Zalian brother would join me, but he got kidnapped by the damn Riddler or some shit. I don't know what happened. It was a mess. Yeah, so we can do, but still, we have Jason Copland in the house. How you doing, man?
I'm good, but it's John Ward. I'm not Jason, but it's good. I like to surprise people. That's great. Like we keep rolling with it. That's okay. Yeah, but I do live near Jason, so that's good. We're in the same vicinity, same city.
So I've been researching the wrong individual all day, is what you're telling me.
Oh, oh, maybe. Let's talk about. Let's talk about Jason. What kind of research have you been digging up on Jason?
Well, I mean, just checking out his work and this and that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, the book that he's currently working on with the kaiju vibe on it and this and that. And did I really get thrown off that much, John? Seriously, what did I do?
I don't know. But Full Tilt is Jason's book, and it is coming very soon, in the next couple of months. I've been very lucky that I've seen some of the pages from it, and it looks amazing. I have to say, it's going to be a phenomenal book. So when that comes, I think it's going to be on Zoop, and so I think everyone should go and back it as soon as it appears.
I swear on my life, that's who I've been speaking to on Twitter today in regards to this interview.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe Jason's going to join us then. I don't know.
Have I been speaking to you today? Am I losing my mind?
No, you haven't. You haven't. We connected last month because we were going to do this conversation, but I was at a con and then we couldn't get the time lined up. So, but yeah, you may have been chatting with Jason today. It's one of those weird days, right? It's
You have no fucking idea, John, how weird of a day it's been. I've been talking to Jason Copland all day.
Wow.
How the hell did you even get this link?
You sent it to me in my my DM. Yeah. This is one of those things. So so I'm guessing Jason was supposed to be here tonight.
We're gonna put a quick pause because I'm gonna have to do an edit for what I'm about to have to do. Let's just do it like this.
Sure,
John, yeah. Scratcher though. All right.
Yep.
All right. See.
Okay. Yeah. That's me. Yeah.
Brain's refreshed. I have been talking to Jason today.
Okay.
But you ever get to the point where you're doing so much, John, that you lose track of what you're doing?
I do. It's I found when I was doing my podcast, it was kind of getting overwhelming, just trying to keep management of everything. I had an Excel sheet that was all color coded, and it was just kind of hundreds of rows, hundreds of colors. I was just completely lost. So I totally empathize with your situation.
Well, the questionnaire is a quest, and it is going to go nutty. I apologize for all the edits that are going to be in the midst of this episode, ladies and gentlemen, because there's going to be quite a few, especially when Jason randomly joins us and is like, why is this interview already being conducted? And then I'm like, hey, what's up? It's Jason Copland. See, that was the dude
and he's going to be like, what? It's going to be like, what the hell is it? Why is John here?
Yeah.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best ever. That's why.
All the more better, man. But before Jason gets here, Let's discuss Scratcher, bro.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's complete. Yeah, we can do that.
Cause yeah, I do remember very much reading that, prepping for your interview when it was supposed to happen.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, my life's been a little nuts. My co-host ain't fucking here because the Riddler kidnapped him. I got so many riddles going on in my life. We won't even begin to go into all of them. But hey, at least I got a fresh shave today, ladies and gentlemen. We all know that's a rarity if you've watched any past episodes. Even got my damn haircut, so that's there's a couple things going right. But to the note of Scratcher, John. Hi, how would you come up with that concept?
I mean, I've always been fascinated by tattoos and tattoo art. I grew up in a small town in the UK, and a bunch of my friends were tattoo artists, but they were just so skilled, and yet the tattoos they were being asked to do constantly were kind of like ankle bracelets, Celtic stuff. It was kind of like it's so generic, and it's kind of like the Flash stuff, and it's just like ordering it. Like I'll have a number 6 off the wall. I always kind of wondered, everyone's individuality, that's what everyone kept saying. It's like, oh, I got a tattoo because I want to be an individual and tell a story about myself, and yet everyone's tattoos are the same. And I always kind of wondered, maybe there was something in the tattoos that was kind of like causing people to kind of have this desire for conformity. And I just, I love horror because I think horror is kind of like a genre that kind of reflects a lot of things about our culture. And I kind of was just interested in merging the two together. I think that's kind of where it started out. I mean, I think that was the genesis of the concept. It kind of changed quite a lot, on the journey between sort of the idea and kind of what it ended up looking like. But I think that's where it came from. It was just kind of seeing all of these great artists kind of really sort of not being allowed to be let loose and to be trusted to do the art that they knew that they were capable of. And that's kind of soul crushing, right? Like when you're creative and you have to fit in a box and in order to pay the rent and all that stuff, it's kind of difficult. And I think that's horror. I mean, that is horror in itself. And so just reflecting that in a book, I think in a nutshell, that's kind of where it sort of came together.
Hell yeah. Another quick pause. This shit's gonna be a pain in my ass to edit. All right. Yeah, it's really gonna be a pain in my. I've caused myself so many issues today, John. It's ridiculous. I'm waiting for Jason to just pop in this interview to turn into something else. Watch now, Jason's not gonna show up because I got him the link late because I thought I was sending it to him when I sent it to you because I was like, oh yeah, that's and I sent it real quick and I didn't even look at the damn name.
Oh shit.
Because I ain't talked to you today, John.
No, I know.
But Jason hit me up way earlier talking about we're still on for tonight, and I'm like, yeah.
But, well, I mean, I'm hoping that we can make this work. If you need me to step out, I'm happy to.
I don't know. I don't give a damn, John. It's a quest, and it will run. That's what it does, man. Watch. By the time it's all said and done, there'll be madness. I just really wish I had your fucking questionnaire handy, as opposed to just Jason's. That's part of my sincere problem right now. Is I'm not sure where the hell your questionnaire is, man. No, dude, it's not because I do things. Okay. Hold on. Everybody that watches this episode is going to be like, this is the most fucking unorganized episode this motherfucker has ever done. And I'm going to be like, yeah, you're right. See? What's up? There's Jason Copland in the fucking house. Already we're in the middle of an episode. Hey, Jason. Hey, man, when you flip the camera, there you go. Look, so much pain in my ass editing. It's going to hurt my damn head. Hey, Jason, I did madness today. We'll just leave it at that, right? Okay, I know who's fucking shit that is. Okay, I know who fucking shit this is. Okay, man. Whatever. I just don't have your questionnaire handy, John. That's kind of gonna annoy the shit out of me.
Don't worry about it. This is we need to talk about Full Tilt, so I'm here to just to help that along. So It's good to see you, Jason.
What?
I saw you the other
What's
day.
John
This
doing
is
here?
this is my unscheduled co-host for the day, Jason, because Hardaway, my regularly scheduled co-host, got kidnapped by the Riddler, so he wasn't available. So I just double booked interviews today, apparently, without fully well knowing that's what I did, because I wanted comic book creators to interview comic book creators. Because fuck it, why not? It's not like I don't do pan cons over here and don't have one getting ready to come up to where we're gonna have Erica Schultz, Tom Borvolt, Doug Wagner, and fucking Stephen Grant all in one room at the same time as well. So, might as well just mix it up. I'm the unknown factor, by the way. Jason, it's a
What's that, sorry?
pleasure. It's a pleasure. You're the gentleman who I've actually been researching all day to conduct this interview. Um,
Oh my.
and then John hit me up at the last moment talking about, yeah, we're doing this, and I forgot I'd reschedule him because he was scheduled previously, and just
So yeah, so I'm now in a co-host capacity, Jason. So I will be asking very probing questions because I haven't done any of the research. So
Yeah, John
so-
doesn't. John doesn't know me at all. Like,
Yeah.
we've never
no
met
probing
before.
on the questionnaire. All right, no probing. That's all I'm
No
saying.
probing. Okay.
Mhm. I mean, if you can ask probing questions, just no probing, John. All right.
Yeah, no,
That's
well,
all I'm saying.
we live in the same city, but it's not that close. There's some separation.
Well, gentlemen, thank you both for joining this quest. I apologize that in my madness, this madness occurred, but it did, and we're already going. And Jason's like, man, I didn't even get no kind of setup. I didn't get introduced. My ass is just gonna randomly pop in, like I don't know, 10 minutes into the episode, and be like, "What's up? I'm the dude. Yeah, I called John your name, Jason. So don't feel bad."
No worries.
This is kind of like it's kind of like a show. Like I've been the warm up, and now we're on to the main event. So
Okay,
that's the way to
yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
We're all primed and ready to go now.
Okay, I'm not. I haven't had a cider, so I'm not primed at all.
I fucking whatever. I don't even care. We're just gonna run with it because that's what we're gonna do, right? So, real quick, I want everybody to know I've gotten a chance to check out. Well, I mean, check out what you've released as far as from Full Tilt. It looks very interesting. Scratcher, I got into it and read it, dude. It's very, very intriguing of a concept, and kind of nutty, man. I don't honestly think I've ever quite seen something like that with as far as the possession. I'm gonna get to you in one moment, Jason. We're gonna dig into some shit,
No,
but
no worries. Yeah.
I just gotta ask you, John, why'd you play up the holy at that point?
I think that's a good question. I think I'm just interested in kind of like a lot of the sort of deeper questions when you start to get into possession. People start asking you, well, what is it? Is it supernatural? Is it is it a scientific thing? And like for me, like they're kind of quite similar. And so I just kind of wanted to toe that line between kind of having the religious aspect, the spiritual aspect of it, and also like the science aspect, because they're both there. We've got characters representing both of those viewpoints. So I think that's where it comes from, just kind of trying to create that extra tension in the story.
Now, real quickly, have you two ever worked together on anything?
Nope.
I mean, I think we polished off like a pizza, like that's pretty much it. Like beer and pizza, I think is our contribution today. But we'll see we'll see where that goes.
All right. Well, obviously, Jason, you've worked extensively on a number of things from a number of different imprints as far as in the industry, man. Because like I said, I was researching to interview you today, John. I sincerely apologize to that. I've never fucked up so hard on the questionnaire since it started, and I'm like it's been going pretty good. But damn, man, like Hardaway didn't show up, and then like I apparently double booked a show, and then I sent the link to the wrong person because he hit me up, that being you, John, at the exact moment where I was getting ready to send it to you, Jason. So I was like, wait, fuck, oh fuck, so I never sent it to Jason. Oh shit, son of a bitch. So, yeah, right. So on to that, man. Out of all the publishers you worked for, have you and you ain't got to name no names as far as because I don't want to cause you issues for obvious reasons. Um, Is there one that sticks out that's like I love working with that publisher? And is there ever been a publisher where it's like I will never work with them fucking people again?
I've kind of I'm kind of off all publishers actually. um, it's I'm just trying to think. I mean, it really comes down to the editors. The companies themselves are faceless. You know, they generally don't. It's the day-to-day people that you deal with. So it really comes down to the editors. And I had some great editors at Marvel. John Moyson is awesome.
I just gotta ask, is Tom Bovart one of them?
No.
Okay. Tom was a pleasure to have on the show. That's why I bring him up.
Yeah, no. Yeah, there's only a couple guys, but generally speaking, I prefer not not working with a publisher, which I've been doing for about the last 5 years. So, yeah. Sorry.
You're fine, man. What's your specific reasoning behind that, out of curiosity? I mean, because obviously the industry has changed a good deal. You know what I mean? If you're talking 15 years ago, or even, I mean, I think you would definitely want to work with a publisher 15 years ago. If you go back 20, you would definitely, I think, want to be working with a publisher to be able to get your stuff out. But obviously now, between Kickstarter, webcomics, and everything, it's changed. I mean, was it just the evolution of the industry?
For the most part, I'm pretty disappointed with some of the things that happen at publishers, but it's mostly just being able to control every aspect of it, and it's just the freedom of it. And yeah, like you say, with crowdfunding, it's opened the field right up. You don't have, there's no, I hate to say gatekeeper, because that's a trigger word these days, but there's no hurdle really, other than just trying to find people that will back your project. Anyone can start a comic, anyone can draw a comic, and anyone can essentially start a Kickstarter to fund their comics. So the playing field's very level, I see. And why sign away rights when you can have them all and still put your book out?
Fair point. What's your opinion on that, John?
Yeah, I'm with Jason. I mean, like, I've been moving into doing crowdfunding for different things. So it's I've been asked to sign contracts before where you're waving away too many things, and it's just not worth it. So I think it's the direct to consumer is going to be an important market for us in the future.
Fair enough. And I mean, I know in a past conversation with Doug Wagner, we've spoken about like the rights he has to plush and vinyl and plastic, and as far as like would he even want them optioned to Hollywood, and he said he's had some interactions with them, and I'd assume based on what you just said, Jason, as far as contracts, that's one of the things they kind of take under your foot from you.
Well, I mean, it varies from company to company. Generally, the publisher has their own media wing, and they'd prefer you to sign with somebody who reps them to push your products or your IPs places. Michael May and I, we did Kill All Monsters together, and that was one of those ones where Dark Horse wanted us to sign with their rep and have them push it. And I don't know. There's a lot of, I mean, it's easy, right? They just do it for you, but then you're signing away a bunch of stuff, and nothing happened. We didn't get any real nibbles on it, which is fine. But if we had, I think that we would have lost a lot more than what we gained in terms of. We could have found our own agent at that point and got a deal ourselves and cut out the middleman. So yeah, I don't know. Owning all the rights to something is something that I created myself is like the top priority of my own. There's no point in creating something and then somebody else controlling it. So yeah.
All right, fair enough. So, before I get to my next question for you, Jason, I have a question for both of you. You guys got any horror stories from working for a publisher? Like I said, again, no names are needed. You don't have to name the publisher. But you got any stories that stick out that are like, I can't believe I had to deal with this shit?
Not really, no. No, it's all been pretty smooth.
John?
Yeah, I don't. Apart from the stuff I self-publish, then I do have problems with the publisher, but that's me. So yeah, so that's the challenge. I look at myself in the mirror and like, like, oh my God, why are you gonna do that? But I mean, that's not. I haven't.
You only got yourself to blame on that one, right, John?
Yeah, and I do because I make a lot. I make a lot of mistakes, and so I'm learning. So, but yeah, I don't have anything bad to say.
Firstly, John, I can relate. I'm not supposed to have you both on the show at the same damn time. So, there's that. But I do love how you just fully like, yeah, man, I dicked up. It's what happened, and that's, so I love how your own worst enemy in the comic book industry, though, is yourself. That's kind of sort of funny, man. And, yeah, but I'll tell you, on to Kill All Monsters, which you just brought up, Jason. I want to know, what do you think makes your kaiju story stand out from the rest? Because there's obviously a lot. We just recently had Wells and Dalton on. You can check that episode now because I had to make sure that it processed out and dropped today, and that's part of the reason I probably screwed this up is because I was also trying to make sure that episodes continue to come out, on a regular basis. And they did a book called Mechaton, which is about a giant glove that falls from space, and anything you punch with it turns into a mech. All right.
Well, sounds like fun. I think the thing that sets ours apart is, I mean, Michael writes it. I just draw it. I can really only speak to the fact that Michael, he loves the genre. Well, we both do, but he writes from a place of love. It's not it's not like, oh, I think this genre is gonna be the next big thing. Let's do a kaiju book or whatever. This is something that he loves, and I think that comes through. Oh, there we go. And for my part, I mean, I like giant robots and giant monsters. And one of the comics growing up that really got me interested in comics was a book called The Shogun Warriors from that Marvel did in the 70s. And yeah, I'm that old. And and so actually some of the designs, the robot designs, they're an homage, I guess. They're not a ripoff or anything, but they harken back to the idea of that sort of giant mech sort of situation, as opposed to some of the Gundam type stuff and the things that you see in Japanimation. That sort. That's not really my wheelhouse. I don't know a lot about that stuff. So the stuff that I kind of drew from was that older stuff that I grew up with.
All right. Well, I gotta know then, just as a personal opinion, out of everything you got, you think you got a monster from Kill All Monsters or a mech? Yeah, as I just destroyed shit behind me that would stand up to that one right there.
Godzilla. Currently, I don't think so. I don't think Michael's written a character that is a Godzilla level. I think we tried to keep it a little more grounded, a little more. I don't even know if ground is the right word.
When you have giant monsters, it's not particularly grounded, Jason. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, if I may jump in as the co-host here, I mean, Kill All Monsters for me is a great book because like it's got all of the big questions about, got all these monsters and the robots, but it's still kind of a story about humans. Like we're still reflected in that, and like I think that's the thing is kind of, I like the kaiju stuff, but I think I also want to see, the human struggle and the human questions kind of come through. And I think I really like the book, and just in the terms of the art and like the way it's the widescreen kind of format that you have, it kind of like really sort of works really really well, and that's kind of quite quite unique in terms of like the kind of those giant monster books that I've seen that are out there. So I think like it is quite a unique take on it, and I'm excited for more. Like I'm really hope that there's going to be more coming soon.
Yeah, well, Michael's actually written the next one. So once Full Tilt is out of my hands, once it's gone through the crowdfunding, then it's gone to the printer and it's been shipped and all that sort of stuff, I can focus on doing the next Kill a Monster book. I haven't read it. I have no idea what Michael's written. I'm bad. I feel really bad about it because about, I'd say almost 2 years ago, I'm like, okay, Mike, I'm going to be wrapping up Full Tilt. Maybe start writing that next one. And he got it written. And I'm like, oh, sorry, dude, I got about another year, because the way that this book worked, I just kept adding stuff and expanding it. And because originally the book was going to be about 140 pages. And then I started drawing and writing and drawing and writing and rewriting and drawing. And it turned out to be a 307 page book. So it took me much longer than anticipated. I think that the time that I took to do that made it a stronger book for sure. So I feel a little bad because Mike's just been kind of waiting in the wings there, waiting for me to finish this up and move on to the new Kill a Monster book, which I'm really excited about drawing. So so there's more coming. And
So
the one reason why it's widescreen like that was just because originally Mike and I started it as a webcomic online, and just screens are that way, so we drew it that way. And then that just was like something that just it felt right, so we just continued, and it actually just it's half a page. Like it's actually the dimensions is half a page of a comic, so the format just feels right for it,
So it would fit really, really well on a nice big screen TV if you wanted to read it like that, essentially, is what you're saying. If you just wanted to. I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, that's like, I don't know, because I'm kind of a stickler. I love my physical form. But real quickly for everyone watching, I want to let you know you can find links to Scratcher as well as Kill All Monsters, as well as what we're about to get into, which is what you're currently working on, man. Now, it's a near future crime. When you say near future, how near are we talking?
It's actually not that near. It's a couple hundred years in the future. So yeah, it's originally. So again, this is that whole thing where the book kind of took on its own. When I first started writing it, it was going to be about 40, 50 years, and then the more stuff that I started adding into the book was like, well, the way that mankind has been progressing, we all should have rocket packs and jet packs and flying cars and stuff, if you believed what happened, media from 35, 40 years ago. But we're not there yet. So I was like, well, it makes more sense that the stuff that I want to do is probably closer to 150, 200 years in the future. So that's sort of where I said it after I kind of started writing about it. So it's not quite near future.
That's not the near future. When you said near future, I figured you were talking about a date I would live to, Jason.
No. Yeah, well, you never know. There might be some sort of discovery right around the corner where you could live to that long. We'll see.
I mean, look, that's
I wouldn't hold my breath.
That in itself is a pretty hard tilt, Jason. I'm pretty sure 300 years. I mean, I'm already frustrated enough with humanity at times at 39, and just with some of my own dumbass decisions as far as like how I screwed this up and got you both on the show. I don't.
You gotta let yourself off the hook.
Yeah.
Look.
It's in the past, man.
I think I'm telling you though. I'm thinking 300 years. 300 years of living on Earth. I think I would like. I look at the elite now as they are, and I'm like, haven't they had enough cake? You feel me? 300 years of it. I don't know. I don't know that I could take it mentally.
Yeah, well, I think that there'll be a time of reckoning. Not to make it sound too sinister or whatever. I think there'll be a lot of this
Ups and
in the
downs.
next 200 years. So, we might be up here and then we'll, so, and a lot can happen in 200 years.
Does your story reflect this?
What's that?
Does the hard tilt, man? Does it reflect that? Is that kind of like why? Specifically, too, where did you come with that title? Like hard tilt.
No, full
Full
tilt.
tilt.
Oh, full tilt.
But,
Why am I thinking hard tilt? Full tilt. My bad. Yeah,
No
sorry.
worries.
Why? Yeah, why full tilt? Where did you come with that? Like what? I mean, because that could mean a number of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was mostly because what I wanted was what I originally envisioned with my 140-page book was that it was just going to be something was going to happen at the beginning, and then it was just going to go, and it was just going to be thing after thing after thing, and it was going to be full tilt. Like the guy's life was going to be running full tilt. So so it was one of those sort of things where it was like, okay, I want this to be super actiony and moving fast, and it's not that it doesn't anymore, but I've added a few other things in it that make it a little more nuanced and a little more interesting than just one big chase scene or something.
I was about to ask, man, are you writing the story of my current life just kind of amped up a bit? Because my coworkers, where I actually work, they're like, yeah, dude, your life's like Telemundo, and I tell them to shut the fuck up when they say that. It's like Telemundo in English, and I'm like, you both can bite me. You can both bite me. So I figured you just were maybe keeping an eye on me, and then like just spicing it up with some action sequences here and there.
You never know. It's a small world.
If you are, I want a cut. Okay, that's all I'm saying, Jason. All right, like
okay.
Shit, if somebody's gonna make money off the past 8 months of my life, I better at least get a portion of it, or I'm gonna be beyond bloody well annoyed. All right, like Jesus. So in ostensibly in stretching it out, you slowed it down a bit, man. Is what you're saying then, right?
Yeah. It went from a pure action sort of undertaking to more of a full-rounded story.
So initially, you were trying to write Crank the comic book. Is that what you're saying?
A little bit, yeah. But when it started kind of coming together with the story and stuff was coming together, because I was just working mostly from just an outline, and then as I was adding stuff, I realized that it needed to have its peaks and valleys. So and I actually I don't really want to talk about it, but I wanted it to say something, and a little bit about life and loyalty and love and that sort of thing. So I'm trying not to talk too much about what the book is actually about, because there's a point in the book where things kind of change, and so I don't really want people to know the twist. And talking too much about exactly what the book's about will probably tip people off. So
can you set up the twist without giving it away?
No, I better not, because if I say too much, it's too late. I can't reel it back in. So yeah.
How the hell are you going to sell your book if you can't give a pitch to
sort of like the Warriors, the movie The Warriors, with Godfather and Blade Runner, that sort of thing. That's the vibe and the sort of it's kind of what I'm going for.
You just made my head hurt, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of set in a Blade Runner world where crime and loyalty and pacts, matter. So yeah.
Blade
Runner, Godfather, and The Warriors.
There's some big influences there, I think, but like it's I mean, as I was saying, like I've been lucky enough to see like some of the pages, and like it looks phenomenal. So like I'm super excited for when it
Thanks,
comes
man.
out.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, because I was on your website earlier today, because like I said, I only researched one of you gentlemen. I apologize. Though I have read Scratcher, and I honestly would recommend it, especially if you're someone that enjoys the art of tattooing. I definitely think it's a story that you should pick up. Like I said, you got a link in the comments to find that, as well as Kill All Monsters, as well as the Kickstarter for Full Tilt. It'll all be there. Just go and click it. But shit, I lost my train of thought.
Just go buy stuff. That's what.
So let's throw this out there, right, gentlemen? Since my co-host ain't here, I'm gonna steal a couple of his regularly scheduled questions for the questionnaire.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Right? Because he's not here, you know? Damn, Riddler got to kidnap his ass. I don't know what Enigma's problem was, but that's a whole nother enigma we ain't gonna get into. We'll figure that out when Hardaway comes back. But if someone was to write a theme song to y'all's lives, who you want?
Lives. Who would we want to write our theme song?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like who would just write that theme song that would just fit your life perfectly?
Yeah, I don't know. In their heyday, maybe. I've been listening to a lot of Alice Cooper, so I don't know. Maybe the Alice Cooper band would write a good song for me. Yeah.
You are a classic rock guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I do listen to some new stuff, but I definitely am firmly in the classic rock sort of genre.
Yeah, you named a dude that I don't know how he's still alive, Jason, to be real honest with everything he's done throughout his life.
I think Alice Cooper is probably amazed he's still alive too. Oh, you know what though? The dude, I mean, he partied hardy for quite a while, but then he cleaned up and he's been so I mean, I think it really depends on what you're doing in your later years more than your younger years sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, Keith Richards is still alive, so that's something.
He might be alive for the next 300 years, like in the
you never know.
Into the Full Tilt timeline. He may be.
He's got enough money. If the technology's there, he's probably hooked up.
Look, all I know is if it gets to that level of tech, that just means Walt Disney's going to come back to life. And I don't know if I'm cool with that. He don't need that much control over the comic book industry. But that is neither here nor there. John, who you want writing that theme song?
Who do I want writing it?
Who do you think would fit best for to create a theme song for your life?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think maybe. I mean, I listen to a lot of interesting music. So I would guess like who I think could write something interesting for me would probably be a band called Agoraphobic Nosebleed. They're like a cyber grind band, so like their songs are kind of like 8 seconds long, but like
what?
Just really just like literally Full Tilt, but just insanely fast.
No, John. I'm a hip hop artist. I make hip hop music as the unknown factor, as one half of Killer Factory with my brother Mr. DKB, and 1/6 of Zay with my brother Mr. DKB, and the co-host my Zalian brother JDD Hardaway of X Among You. So an 8-second song, I just have to say, is not a song.
No, I understand. I agree. I to an extent I agree, but I mean I listen to a lot of like punk rock and hardcore, and like these songs are very short. So I think they could do something interesting, but I don't think that. I mean, I think the actual song of my life would probably be something like the Benny Hill theme. Just kind of like just kind of like that's what would actually happen. I'd want something like great, but that's the reality versus the fantasy there.
I can relate, man. I can relate.
That's funny.
Like just trying to run around like mad, just get a little
I mean that's kind of what life is. It's kind of like kind of that kind of weird juxtaposition between like wanting great things, but kind of like just random stuff just kind of like going wrong horribly, and all you can do is laugh, right? I mean that's what you can do.
That's
really
that.
I can't even think of the last time I thought about Benny Hill. Oh my lord!
Well, I don't ever want to think about Benny Hill, but the theme song is iconic, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like the theme music is just iconic.
Why you got a problem with Benny Hill?
Oh, I don't. I didn't grow up with it, but my grandparents would watch it. it was interesting.
I think it was a product of its time, is what I would say. Like,
oh yeah,
looking at it now, it's kind of like I think it's kind of it's got very some strange humor, but just the way the theme song kind of works, I think is kind of like it's just very descriptive musically. So
let's get into that real quick, man. All right, as far as product of its time, all right, because obviously I haven't read either of your books, Jason, mainly because one of them's not even out yet. So if I did, that would mean I was a time traveler, and Tony Fleece don't give me the time traveler shopper. He won't give me that time machine. I don't know why he won't give me it. I think he don't trust me. But check out Tony's interview too. It was phenomenal. But yeah, he won't give me that time machine. Otherwise, I would have jumped forward and grabbed that book real quick. Plus, probably a bunch of other things. I really shouldn't have a time machine, but that's neither here nor there. And Scratcher, from reading it, I definitely I don't see it getting published in the 80s, maybe the 90s. You know what I mean? Just
not even now. I mean, I pitched it to a bunch of places and everyone said no. So I mean,
well, but I mean, as far as conceptually, what you're going into with the level of horror and the level of blood, and just the level of violence, I wouldn't necessarily say that no one would pick it up, man. As far as that, I mean, if you pitched it to a bunch of people, what happened? But I just mean as far as the context of the story and what's involved in it. I mean, look, like I said, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Doug Wagner and plush vinyl and plastic and what he's done with Image. That shit is insane. Okay, it's really, really, really far out there, and I got a feeling just based on what you just said about Full Tilt, Jason, that's going to be pretty no line is really there ain't much you're not willing to cross. I mean, I assume there's a couple, but
it's pretty violent.
Yeah, somebody getting their head blown off is no big deal, right?
My book definitely has a level of violence that I actually question a little bit. I bring it to my wife and kind of say, "Is this too far?" And she doesn't tell me, so I probably have gone too far. Yeah. But it is what it is. I'm not going. But let's put it this way: I'm not really doing it. If the gore is or if the violence is over the top, it's not to. It serves a story. It's got nothing to do with trying to titillate people or whatever. It's what happens when these characters get to that point in their life. So, shit happens. So buckle up, I guess, or don't read it. I mean, there will definitely be. I'll make sure that people understand that this book is for mature readers. This is not something that you read to your kid. There's plenty of swearing right from the get-go, and then the violence on top of that. So I would not suggest reading this to your child. But again, it's not something that I purposely went out to make the most violent book or whatever. It's just what these characters told me that had to happen. So that's what happened.
I mean, fair enough, man. I mean, I think there's a lot of violent books out there, and I think it's definitely increased. Like I said, if you compare it to the 80s and 90s markets, or even the early 2000s, like I said, I mean, I'm just in the middle of reading Deadly Class by Rick Remender, which is excessively violent. You know what I mean? Everything like Doug Wagner's, the 3 books that I've just referenced are very, very violent. Go check out his interview or past quests that we've had where he had on, and we got into all of it. As well as he's going to be on our next PanCon. That's a panel conversation where we bring out a couple different creators. I'm going to have to do that with you guys because this is technically a mini CanCon. Because technically a PanCon is typically 4 individuals, not just 2. And Hardaway's also here. But I want to know just your guys' opinion on the industry, and do you think perhaps comics have become too dark?
You can go, John.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I would. I mean, I don't think they've become too dark. I mean, I think there's certainly like I think there's like certainly like a vogue, if you want, for want of a better term, of kind of like some books are quite dark, but I mean, I think there's just as many books that are kind of like not dark at all now, and I think it's just I think what I would say is that like you can find whatever you're looking for. And I think if you would, I mean, someone like myself, I do tend to gravitate to the darker things, so I see them. But I think that there's just as many people working on books that are kind of all ages, or kind of superhero that's not dark, and it's kind of like this, it's joyful and kind of just very different. So I don't think it's I don't personally think that like it's too dark. I mean, I know other people like think differently, and that's certainly there's like a cyclical thing. I think we see it in other media. Like if you look at TV, for example, I think we do see that like there's to Jason's earlier kind of analogy about this kind of like up and down, like the hills and valleys. I think we go through cycles where TV does get quite dark. Like all of the shows that get greenlit are quite dark in tone, and then kind of like we go through that into a phase where it's kind of more blue sky kind of things, and things are lighter. And I think we see that in comics too. But I think you can always pick and choose and find another lane to go into. So I don't think they're too dark. But I don't know. What do you think, Jason?
No, I agree completely. I think you find what you're looking for. If people think that things are too dark, they're probably looking for all the dark comics. There's tons of stuff out there. Again, the field is wide open. People can make whatever kind of book that they want to make, and there's plenty of people making books that aren't violent or salacious or anything like they're you just have to look for them. So I think that there's a wide range of books, and I don't think that there's a particular lean to dark books currently.
Okay. Yeah, and I'd say too though, it's like it's also individualistic. Right? What's dark for you may not be the same for me in that sense. I mean, so to Jason's point earlier about like the violence in Full Tilt, I have this issue with my own work. Kind of like I don't really worry about the violence as much, but it's the swearing for me that's kind of like is there too much? You know what I mean? Because I do tend to swear quite frequently, and like there's a lot of that in my work. But that's the thing I get worried about. Like the violence in some ways that happens in the gore and the horror books I write. Like I'm much less worried about, but it's the other things that are kind of more disturbing for me. And so I think it just means that like everyone's got a different measuring stick for what they kind of perceive to be dark. So I think it's kind of hard to kind of just kind of like say it as a black or white thing.
Fair enough. And I totally agree with both of you in that regard. I think it's just more like, because I mean, another past guest, Shereen Morishita, who does webcomics, she does very, very positive things. You know what I mean? And then we've had people on, like I said, like Doug Wagner, who's most of his books are pretty fucked up. And look, John, if you're gonna cut somebody, if you're gonna have your arm cut off and you don't scream "fuck you," something's a little wrong up here. Like that should be the first word that comes to your brain when somebody just cuts your whole damn arm off, right? But then at the same time, we've had like Tony Fleece on, who wrote Stray Dogs, which is a phenomenal book, but it's very, very dark. It walks a weird line, in my opinion. It really does. But he also works on My Little Pony, which is some of the most positive shit out there. Like friendship is magic, So I do agree that there's that entirety of everything from My Little Pony to Garth Ennis's Crossed, which is crossing every line available as far as I'm concerned. Shout out to Garth Ennis though, man. I love your work, but nobody ever turned that to a TV show, to an animated, to a movie. Please, for the love of God, go if you want to like do something with Garth Ennis's work and turn it into a different medium. Just pick fucking something else besides Cross. That's all I ask. But I'll tell you, on Crossing Over, man, you guys, I want to know, is there somebody in the industry, like another fellow creator, that you would just love the chance to work with? Troy. Besides one another, because like y'all know one another and y'all ain't work together, you live like in the same town. What kind of shit is that?
Yeah, Vancouver used to be, well, I mean, it's still a bit of a hot spot for comic creators. It used to be a lot more. Ed Brisson and Curtis Weeb, they all moved away, and Johnny Christmas is here sometimes, and Simon Roy, he's on the island now. So I mean, there used to be quite a lot, but as to people that I want to work with, this is one of the reasons why I started working with myself, or not with a publisher, and doing my own stuff, is just I kind of want to focus on my own thing. But having said that, Michael May will always be a guy that I want to work with. Mike's great, and he writes great stuff. So as for other people, I don't know. I just don't see myself reaching out and collaborating in the near future. Yeah.
I feel like you all both need to work on a book together at some point, based on the fact that I unintentionally brought you both on the show at the same time. You know, I just have to say that, man. And I'm kind of curious, based on what I know of your work, Jason, and based on what I read as far as Scratcher, I feel like you could both respectively bring something fairly twisted together. That's just my opinion of your minds as far as creators, as far as what I've seen. But I've also come to the conclusion, I think we've interviewed more people from Canada than anything else on this show.
Well, that's great.
I don't know how that happened, but I could sit here.
Canadians are so nice. That's why.
We obviously have a lot to say. That's the short answer. Like,
Yeah,
we like talking, and that's why we need people to hear us. So like that's what it is. So.
Well,
because in Canada you're just looking at snow all year long, and I'm kidding. No, there's not a lot of snow in Vancouver. Although this year a couple times there was too much snow. But
yeah,
I will say, man, everybody who we've had on has been a pleasure. I can't think of it. Like I'm not going to go through the laundry list because it would honestly be a fairly long one. I kind of want to, just to see how many of them you know, to be real honest, between the two of you. But I would end up forgetting someone and feeling like an asshole more than anything, because I don't have the full list in front of me. But I mean, like, for instance, though, I will bring up, because I have a piece of art that he drew on the show right there, is Mike Ruth.
Yeah, Mike's awesome.
Yeah, yes, he is, and I love that swamp thing chilling in the back right there, the questionnaire.
Yeah, he draws an awesome swamp thing.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, you can literally check a past episode and watch him sketch that on the show, where we're just BSing and just talking shit, man. Right? Because that's what a lot of the show is, right?
So why do you think that there's so many Canadians like on the show?
Yeah, why?
I don't know exactly why that happened, man. I can't really explain it to you, besides the way the network worked, I guess, as far as me networking with people, as far as just, it was like, oh, well, he's interviewed these guys, so I'll go on, and, that person knew person A and B, and then the next person knew person C and A, and then the next person knew person B and D, and you know what I mean? I think that may have had a lot to do with it. I mean, at the same time, I can't really explain it, man, as far as how this quest is run. It's been fairly insane. From, we've had Steven. I mean, look, if y'all want to go check out all the past guests, they're all there. I'm not going to fucking sit here and name drop like an asshole. I've done quite a bit of it this episode, to be real honest. But yeah, I would assume just more than anything because of the association of you guys knowing one another, because you're in the same area, working in the same industry. So it was like, oh, well, he went on and he said he had a good time. And so I think it just kind of steamrolled that way. I mean, not to say like shit, before the interview before this is the dude's from Serbia. You know what I mean? Right? And and you want to talk about something that crosses the line, a Serbian film. I never want to, then again, I'm like and that's why I say don't ever make Crossed into anything else, because that's, like, it's worse than a Serbian film, in my opinion, and I didn't need that in my fucking life. Have you?
I hear that.
I take it you all have never seen a Serbian film.
I saw the trailer for it.
Did it make you not want to watch it?
It did, yeah. I'm, I like watching a lot of difficult stuff, but like, yeah, even for me, I was, yeah. It wasn't for me.
Jason, I'll tell you right now, based on you not liking torture porn type films like Hostel and Saw, a Serbian film make them look like a fucking Disney movie.
Yeah, I mean, I've read about those films. I just have zero interest. I don't even actually think physically I could watch them. I have issues with blood and stuff, so I'd probably pass out or something stupid.
Well, look,
Seriously,
I used
not
to
just
run
like
a
fake.
I used to run a radio, and we did a one of the shows on it was horror film reviews, and one of the asshole hosts of that show said, "Let's watch a Serbian film." So I had to suffer through it because we were reviewing it on the show, and I will say that as a film, I would have turned the hell off like that, right? But I want to know, John, I ain't got it in front of me, man. What movie do you think didn't live up to the comic book the most?
I think I said it was Fantastic Four was the one I went with.
All right.
I think it's a difficult story to crack, like in a 90-minute movie. I think it can be done, but I think that the attempts they did were just they didn't quite live up to where it could be.
Well, now which one are you referring to, John? Are you
Any of
referring
them.
to
Any of them, I think. That's the. I don't, I don't like to shit on filmmakers because I know how hard it is to get anything made as a film. So like, I don't want to do that. But I think the comics have a lot of potential. But I think it's just a hard thing to do. You're trying to tell a movie like which is a four-hander at least. It's hard to service characters in a way that's meaningful. When they're not been introduced, like if you look at the Marvel movies, they took their time to introduce one character at a time to build up to Avengers. But with a Fantastic Four movie, you're trying to drop everybody in at once, and it's like, what do you do?
And this is why Jason apparently picked the Eternals for that exact reason, I assume.
Right.
I just think it was a really boring film. I think about halfway through, I turned to my wife and was like, "Should we keep watching?" But we had rented it on demand or whatever and paid our $25 and was like, okay, fine, we'll just sit and watch it. But it was just, I was so bored. I was just so bored. And then you look at what Kirby does in the books, and just like it's jumping off the page, it's electric. And the movie was just like, well, for me, I'm whatever. People love that film. They can love that film all they want. We both looked at each other just like, should we finish this? And yeah, so I just you talking about taking the source material and putting it on film. Eternals for me was like a complete misfire. I didn't get that.
First time we've ever had the answer of the Eternals, I want to point out. I do think it's the second worst film within the MCU that I've seen. I'll be honest, the first for me is Thor: Love and Thunder. I thought that was terrible.
Yeah, it was all right.
I didn't watch that one.
I'm not a fan. But on the note of the Fantastic Four films, John, I just got to say, I think a big problem with that is they always want to use Doom as the first villain. And that's not your first villain for the Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? That's not the guy you go to instantly. And I think that's why those films have failed. And God knows, I hope when they bring it in the Marvel Universe, I hope he's like a villain down the line. You know what I mean? As opposed to just, boom, here's Doctor Doom. No, man, you need to build him up like Thanos, ostensibly, or like they are Kang right now. Because that's the level of villain he is. He comes in and beats the shit out of all the Avengers and looks at him and goes, that was easy. And he just walks off, and they have to regroup, and figure out, whoa, what do we do? And how do we deal with this guy? So I think that's a big problem with all those films. So I'm curious, man. You guys had a chance to get your films optioned. Would you flat out just sell them and hand them to somebody to be made, or would you want to make sure you had a creative hand in it?
Well, I don't know.
Say somebody, look, Jason, say somebody walks up to you and says, I got $10 million. Give me full tilt. I'm going to make a movie.
That's like super low budget. I don't know. People want that.
Well, no.
$10
I'm
million
saying
for
they
the
have
rights, but how
10
much they
million.
spend it on the movie?
I'm saying they have $10 million to hand to you, and then they're gonna go.
Oh, okay, for like a purchase price. Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, up until Full Tilt, I've never actually considered any of things that I've been, that I've touched on, that I've co-created or even been part of, as something that I would ever want to see beyond just a comic book. But Full Tilt actually is something that I could see successfully being put on screen. But having said that, I probably would not just hand it to somebody without some weird stipulations that I'd be involved.
Is there a director? Is there a director though that you know of that if he walked up and was like, "Hey man, I really dig this comic. I just want to make it, but I don't want to have to fucking deal with you. Here's some money. I want you to fuck off and trust that I am good enough to do this." Is there a name that you would be like, "Oh, yeah, man"?
No, I don't think so. I don't.
Not even
From
not
what I
even like
know
a
of
Quentin?
Hollywood, I wouldn't trust anyone handing them something and saying, "I want to do whatever I'm going to do." It would get screwed up somehow, for sure. So no, I'd probably say no then.
Not a single damn. John, how about you, man? Say somebody wants to just option Scratcher. Is there a director that you would trust, just knowing their work, to be like, yeah, he'll make a good movie. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I have to be careful because like all of the stuff is already under options, so like the people are working to kind of find partners to kind of get involved. I had like a short list of people I thought like would be good to direct, all Canadians. Yeah, a couple of women. Indigenous director has unfortunately passed away last year. So I think I do, but I also have to recognize that I wanted to tell a story in a comic book. I love comics. I love the medium. That's what I wanted to do. If somebody wants to adapt it, then it isn't the same. So I do have to sort of recognize that, like, I have to step back and let it go a little bit. I would want to fight to kind of like make sure myself and my co-creators, on Scratcher, like Juan and Eric, would be involved in some way. But ultimately, someone's going to take it and they're going to transform it into something different. So it isn't the same, and it's kind of requires a different skill set and a different like risk management profile. So I think that's the reality of it, right? It's hard to make anything. It's hard to make, it's easy and hard to make a comic, but it's hard to make a film, and I wouldn't want it to be the same. I would want somebody to come at it and sort of say to me, I want to take the core ideas here, but kind of tell it like in a slightly different way that puts me into it, that like speaks to me. So I'd be happy to kind of like let somebody else do that, like if we kind of had the right approach. But I'd be more, I'm less worried about those things, and I just want to tell a good fucking story, like in the format that I wanted to put it in. If I wanted Scratcher to be a movie, I would have written it as a fucking movie and then sold it as a movie.
Can I say, like reading Scratcher, personally, I think it would work very well in the style of Afro Samurai.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, dude, it's a fucking anime where Samuel L. Jackson voices two of the main characters. It's
okay.
If for no other reason, it's phenomenal just for that. You know how funny it is to hear Samuel L. Jackson's voice coming out of two anime characters talking about, "Look, motherfucker, you know what?" Like, and it's full on Samuel L. Jackson. That is hilarious in and of itself. But no, I would just go look at the trailer, man, because sincerely, I could just see what you've done working very well stylistically, just art wise, is what I mean. Obviously they're completely different stories, but I could just see it working very well in that artistic style as far as how Afro Samurai was done. Now, to that effect, since I gave my opinion on that, I want to know, Jason, with Full Tilt and everything you've done and the sketches you've got, because I've seen most of the cover work that you've done that you've got up on your website, if it was to get done in some form as far as film animation, is there a style that you think would work best, and what is it?
Oh, I can't really speak to animation stuff. I don't actually watch a lot of animation. So as for a style, I have no idea. I don't really know what's out there in
Well,
terms of.
then how about, I mean, a genre of film, like a certain aesthetic, you know what I mean? Like, would it be more like real dark, or is it going to be kind of colorful, like more like Star Wars, more like Aliens or Blade Runner, you know?
No, I would be like I'm gonna get his name wrong, but the guy, the Villeneuve, the guy that does like the Dune.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah. Yeah, I think actually, if we go back and say who I would give it to, I'd probably give it to that guy. One of my favorite films is Enemy. The cinematography and just the atmosphere that he builds in that is fantastic. So, and the Dune he also did the Blade Runner film, right, the newest one. And while I might have qualms with some of the stuff, like the story, but it looked beautiful. It's a fantastic looking film. So I mean, he gets the visuals. I think that his understanding of cinematography, or what he wants to see on the screen, kind of matches up with what I would want from something out of my property, I guess.
All right. Well, since I accidentally got you both in the same room, you're both, in close proximity to the point where you've shared a pizza with one another. Is there any question, John, that you ever just really wanted to ask Jason, but you're like, I shouldn't?
I mean, I don't know if there's a question that I shouldn't ask. I mean, I'm always curious about process, because I'm a writer, so kind of like my process is kind of like different and always in flux, and I'm always kind of curious about people who are simultaneously balancing the writing and the art. Like how, as you're going through like a book like Full Tilt, you said you started from an outline, and at what point do you kind of start to realize like that the characters and the story kind of they're changing in ways that like the outline doesn't sort of, because it's an outline, it's not like super tight, like beaten out. So how do you kind of creatively kind of cope and manage that so it doesn't become just way off the beaten track? Because I mean, as you're drawing, you kind of get lost in kind of like the telling the story visually. Like how do you balance that? Like I'm always curious about like what the process is to kind of like, how do you keep the story in mind while still trying to sort of really sort of flesh out and expand and like shade it like in a new way?
Yeah, it's writing was a new experience for me. And so taking this on was something that was sort of a personal goal, just to write my own stuff. So it kind of started just with an outline and some visuals that I had in my head, like, oh, that'd be cool to draw something like that. And I actually wrote at least what would technically be called the first draft of the script. I actually wrote it via dialogue. I got characters in situations, and I wrote the dialogue that they would say between each other, and that pushed the story, and then that helped develop characters and characterization and that sort of thing, where the characters may not have been fleshed out when I first started, and then through how they spoke to each other, and are we still here? Oh, okay. So it was just one of those things where they sort of built.
I don't know, man. You can't. I can still hear you,
me,
Jason, but your video totally froze.
Yeah. it died on me.
Oh, there you go. John's
Yeah, I
moving.
can still
again.
hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
I was still moving.
All right. Well, yeah. So it was one of those. It was the way I did it. I would never tell anybody to write or make a book like I did. The process of how I went about it is totally stupid and would probably kill most people. Yeah. But it was difficult, and it was an ongoing thing. And you know, we had talked. You'd come over and you'd seen. I've often talked about having to either scraps. I'll have drawn a scene that didn't quite fit, or I thought would fit, and then after I started reworking some of the script, realized that didn't fit. So there's stuff that I drew that I had to cut, and yeah. So it was like this balancing thing that just kind of kept. I would draw and then I would write, and then I would draw, then I would write, and I would lose some stuff that I drew, and I'd lose a whole lot of stuff that I wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very interesting process that I would not suggest anyone do.
Yeah, but maybe it was right for your project. I mean, that's the thing. I often find, like, you know, I have like a process, right? Like, but every time like I go into a new project, something changes, and like I don't approach it the same way. And like maybe that was for you. Like maybe that's kind of just how it, you know, the right way of doing it. Oh,
all right, you're good. You're good. You're moving now, Jason. You're good.
yeah.
So now I can hear my damn self.
Oh, dramatic cut to black.
And then it just cuts to black.
It's
supposed to do that. It's supposed to do that all at once with the whole episode, not just one of us. I want to point out.
Yeah.
Jason. That's not fair, John, because I was going to ask him the same question.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure. Well, I'm sure he'll be back, and you can ask him that. I'm sure that question. I'm sure there's a lot of things that he wants to ask me, like why, just why. Like,
well, damn it, Jason had to vanish, and that's the bull, man. So I was honestly getting ready to do my final little bit. But I feel kind of rude doing that to the gentleman that I've been speaking to all day about having the interview, not realizing I was supposed to have you on too, John. And hey, maybe no, John left. Jason left the call, John. Look at this. This is the. I will say, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most edits you've ever seen during a questionnaire for this to all work properly the way that I need it to, because I've never had to edit around so much fuckery. But you know, it happens. All right, it does. That's just the case of it. Well, son of a bitch, man. I really wanted to ask Jason that question, to ask you a question. There you go. He's back, Jason.
I told you he's coming back.
All right.
You can't get rid of him now.
Why you gonna break shit, dude?
Me and technology, they don't mix.
Are you serious? You have no idea how much of a pain in the ass this interview is going to be to edit, Jason. You got no idea, right? That's why I'm about to a point where but hey, before I do what I'm about to do, I want to know the same question to you, man. Is there a question that you've ever wanted to ask John that you're like, I just can't ask that? If so, ask it now.
Not really. How's your son doing?
Yeah, he's doing good. He's almost ready to stand. Like he pulls himself up onto stuff and slides along. He likes biting me.
Wow.
So
does he have teeth?
Oh, he's got pretty much all of his teeth. They all come out at once. Like it's pretty scary. Let's see. I mean, have you seen like a kid's skull, like when they get X-rayed and you see like all of the 2 rows of teeth? I mean, it's kind of like weird. It's like what? How did natural selection pick that as the optimal model? I don't know, but yeah, he's doing great. He's doing great. Trying to get him onto some comics, but he's still at that phase where he likes to eat paper, so he kind of like he basically just bites the pages and then consumes them that way.
Yeah, that's why board books are good, because
Whatever, dude. My boy chewed the absolute shit out of board books, Jason. I can't even tell you, like.
it just takes them longer though. That's
Yeah, it does. It does take a little bit to get through it, like, but yeah.
They'll still chew through them. It just takes them, a few more readings. That's all.
Is that why you don't
Yeah.
wait? Is that why you don't like Superman, Jason? Because he's just too easy to chew through. Because he's really not a complex character.
I actually just, when I when I get backed into like having to answer stuff like that, Superman just has never been. I don't hate him or anything. I've never been interested. That's all. I actually most DC guys characters but I just grew up Marvel guys. So other than Batman, there's not a whole lot in DC in their characters that I ever really liked. And even saying that, I generally I'm not. I don't think I really actually started reading comics or even got into comics for the characters. It's always been the art for me. So as long as they look cool, then I like the character, and then if they don't look cool, then I'm not interested. So yeah, Superman just he can do it all. So
he's a basic bitch. He's a basic bitch, Jason. That's what. I'm sorry, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't say this as the guy that hosts the podcast interviewing comic book creators, and I'm like, yeah, anybody from DC, come on. I got some people coming on that work for DC and actually have worked on that character. But in my opinion, as far as superheroes are concerned, that is the most basic superhero out there, because it's like, look, I'm invulnerable, I can do anything, and look at my underwear on the outside. I know that's technically not his design now, but that's what it was initially, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I honestly don't hate anything in the industry, like characters, whatever. I'm more drawn to who's drawing them, as opposed to what they stand for, or who, what they do. It has to look good. That's all.
I always like more of a character driven story more than anything else, and I think that's why I don't know. There was just something about that character to me that was just always kind of light. But then you bring up Batman, and there's just something about that character that's truly bloody psychotic. And I just, again, want to apologize to both you gentlemen, man. We are going to have to bring you on later at a time for a PanCon. I want to let everybody know, right? You can check out Scratcher from John. You can check out everything from Jason. All the links are within the description, right? Full Tilt sounds like it's going to be very interesting, where it's a combination of The Warriors, Godfather, and Blade Runner. That is intriguing, Jason. And like I said, if you're into tattoos, man, I highly recommend Scratcher. It's one of those stories. When I read it, I'm like, this is unique in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that person never tattooed me, I will say, because that would have been upsetting, right? Yeah. Right? But I typically in these interviews a very particular way. But John, you don't get a damn thing because I'm not sure where your questionnaire is, man. So let's just say, right, if you've enjoyed this interview with Jason and John, it was totally not supposed to go this way. They were supposed to be on the show at separate times, and that's just how it's supposed to work, right? Right? What you can do is you can send Jason a ham and pineapple pizza, bro. You weird, right? All right, that's really no, like a ham.
What's wrong with ham and pineapple? I mean,
whatever, man. Yeah, or some Shogun Warriors, right? All right. Now, if you have not enjoyed this interview, what's so bloody ever? Where is this question?
Tough titties is what I say.
Man. If you ain't like this interview, fuck you. There weren't supposed to be two creators on here anyways, and I don't know where the fuck that answer to the fucking question is. I am the unknown factor. And this is a quest. We will at some point have John and Jason on at a later point in some PanCon talking about God knows what, man. Make sure you tune into the next episode coming up, though, where we're going to get into have comics become too dark over time, right? With Eric Schultz, Doug Wagner, Stephen Grant, and Tom Borvold, right? That's why I wanted to just chat it up a little with you guys as far as your perspective on that. And make sure you check the links. Check out both these gentlemen's work, man. Scratcher was dope. Full Tilt sounds like it is going to be very, very intriguing. Yeah? And hey, do like the Canadians, man, right? And just choose kindness, y'all. And have a good night.
All right.